Hello, I'm Axel from AudioCodes, and welcome to the fourth episode in our series on the AI agents functionality in the Live Hub platform. So far, we've learned how to create agents, give them tools, and expand their knowledge via documents. This works great for relatively simple voice experiences. But what happens when things get more complex? Let's say you're building a voice agent for a hotel's room service. This agent might need to deliver items to a room, book a massage, provide information about hotel amenities, and much more. If you try to pack all of that into one huge prompt, it'll be expensive to run, and it probably won't work very well either. Luckily, Live Hub has a better way: multi-agent topologies. Instead of one giant agent, you can create multiple smaller ones, each specializing in a specific task, and then use orchestration tools to route the conversation between them. Let's see this in action. We will use Hogwarts Quick Start to create a sample multi-agent topology. The goal is to build an information agent for prospective Hogwarts students. As you can see, the Quick Start has created 3 agents. There is main agent that starts the conversation, and there are 2 more agents, classes, and finance, answering questions about a specific knowledge domain. The sub-agents are shown with smaller cards, and you'll notice a depth parameter indicating the hierarchy. Okay, let's take a look at the main agent. It is the one that starts the conversation. Looking at its prompt, we can see that it acts like a router, figuring out the user's intent and then passing the question to the right sub-agent. To do that, it uses the Pass Question tool that is listed in the Tools tab. The Pass Question tool simply sends original user question to the sub-agent. There's also a Send Message tool, which can rephrase or add extra information before forwarding the message. We'll see that one in action later. Okay, now let's switch to the Sub-Agents tab. Here we can see all sub-agents that our agent can communicate with. As expected, we see 2 sub-agents in the list: classes and finance. Above the list, there is Orchestration mode. It defines how multi-agent orchestration happens. This specific example uses Consult mode, which means that as soon as sub-agent answers user question, the control switches back to the main agent. We'll see this in action shortly. Let's close the main agent and inspect the sub-agents that were created. Okay, this is the classes agent. As you can see, it's instructed to answer various questions related to classes in Hogwarts. And in the Documents tab, we can see some documents providing detailed information about these courses. The finance sub-agent is pretty similar. It answers various financial questions and has access to some financial documents. Note that it is using .get mode because the financial documents are relatively short. Okay, let's open the chat window on our main agent, and let's ask it something about the classes. Okay, let's see what just happened. The main agent decided that it needs to pass the question to the courses agent and called the Pass Question tool. The context switched to the courses agent, which then provided an answer. Cool. Note that the controls switched back to the main agent. It's because we're using the Consult Orchestration mode that switches the control back to the calling agent once the sub-agent generates the response. Okay, now let's ask some question about finances. This time, main agent decided to pass the question to the finances agent. The latter used .get tool to get information from the attached documents, and then formulated the answer. And again, the control switched back to the main agent. Okay, very nice. Before you ask, do we really need such complex setup for this specific task? The answer is probably no. We could just add all documents to a single agent and let RAG do its magic. This quick start is just a demonstration of multi-agent topology capabilities without extra distractions. Besides Consult, there are 2 more orchestration modes. First, there is Delegate mode. It hands control to a sub-agent, which then continues handling follow-up questions. This is useful when a process has distinct stages, for example, collecting info in one stage and performing an action in another. Let's see this in action. I'll use Dr. Clinic Quick Start now. As you can see, similar to the Hogwarts Quick Start, 3 agents were created. There is main agent that starts a conversation, and there are schedule and cancel agents that handle specific actions. Let's open the main agent and see what's inside it. The main agent's prompt is fairly simple. It gathers basic info like name, social security number, and intent, and then passes the call to corresponding subagent. Note that it uses Send Message tool to summarize the collected information so that subagents know all important details when they continue the conversation. We see the Send Message tool in the Tools tab and 2 subagents in the Subagents tab. We also see that orchestration mode is set to Delegate. One more important thing. This Quick Start uses cal.com account to access a demo Google Calendar. I already have mine set up, so I just add the API key in the variable section. We will have a separate episode on variables, but for now, let's just carry on. Okay, let's open the chat window and start talking. I want to schedule an appointment. Axel. Let's put some dummy social security number. Great. The main agent passed all collected information to the schedule agent. And now I'm talking to the schedule agent. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. The agent went to the calendar, searched for the slots available at the specified time, and showed me some available options. I'll pick the second one. Voila! The appointment has been successfully scheduled. As you can see, there were quite a lot of tool calls involved in the process. You may inspect them in your free time. But in this episode, we are concentrating on the multi-agent orchestration. So let's stick to that. So does the delegate mode mean that the conversation must always flow in one direction, like a waterfall? Absolutely not. The subagent that currently handles the conversation can at any point decide that it wants to pass question or send message to another agent. It can be its child or its parent or some other agent. So the conversation can go back and forth and in any direction that you want. When the conversation starts, the main agent is added to it, then its subagents, then their subagents, and so on. Once all these agents are brought up, they effectively participate in the conversation and can exchange messages. LiveHub by default allows each agent to communicate with its parent, its siblings, and its children. This creates some order, and in most topologies is exactly what you expect. However, if you need to allow some communication that is not covered by these default rules, simply use subagent screen to explicitly specify what subagents the specific agent is allowed to talk to. And don't worry about loops. The LiveHub will automatically eliminate them. All this and much more can be found in AI Agents online documentation that can be accessed by clicking Help Center and then Documentation. One more important point. As you must have noted, the orchestration mode is defined at each agent and applies to its subagents. In other words, it's perfectly fine to mix different orchestration modes in the same topology. For example, consider the following sample topology. The intro agent starts the conversation, determines the language in which user speaks, and passes the question to the second-level agent. It uses Delegate mode, which ensures that once the second-level agent is chosen, the conversation sticks to it. At the third level, we have domain-specific agents. The second-level agent uses Consult mode when passing questions to them, which ensures that control stays at the second-level agent, and it can choose optimal domain-level agent for each user utterance. Okay, one more orchestration mode to go. Both Consult and Delegate modes that we discussed before maintain separate message history for each agent. In most cases, that's exactly what you want. But sometimes you may want to share the message history across the agents. Why would you do that? Well, sometimes you may want all your agents to know all the details said by user, even if they were said to a different agent. You can use Delegate with History mode to enable such behavior. Note, however, that sharing history has some drawbacks and should be carefully considered. Presence of conversation parts handled by other agents may sometimes confuse your agent and cause it to hallucinate. Of course, it all very much depends on the prompt and the exact LLM being used, but just keep this in mind when contemplating on which orchestration mode to use. And we are done for today. We've learned how to deploy multi-agent topologies and explored the different orchestration modes. These are fantastic tools that let you create most complex conversational voice experiences. With the right prompts, the sky is the limit.